morning, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning. I'm John Gray, and we're living here.
Good morning. John, I like the hat. The
Thank
hat's
you.
back in
Thank
style.
you.
Peggy
Absolutely.
Burton.
And I'm Jim
Popeye
Fuller.
Doyle.
Hey, Jim.
It's what now?
Popeye Doyle. Don't you remember that show that the
Oh,
old
yeah.
boy was?
Oh,
What
yeah.
is it? I forget what movie
This
it
is
was.
Jimmy Fuller, in case you didn't catch it.
They
How
all
are you
know
doing?
Jimmy.
Did I
Fuller.
forget to
Well,
say that?
you started to. And the
could
man
be
in the hat, whoever this is, the birthday boy.
If I didn't say my name, folks, it could be because at that moment I couldn't remember it. So,
It happens that way
yeah,
sometimes.
somewhere in my career it actually did happen, and I think it was something that we were doing karaoke related show, and I walked out on stage and I'm trying to be up and get the crowd fired up, and I started to say my name, and for about 2 seconds I couldn't remember. so
Who am I?
and that was
Who
back,
am I?
and that was back many years ago. So anyway,
You know,
Sometimes your mind gets
I was
fuzzy.
talking about. We were talking about ministers a minute ago, and about sermons and all of that stuff. And Philip Scoggins back here in the back gave me a book when I was going to have hip surgery, which I didn't have because I had a pacemaker put in, called At Home. And this Bill Bryson is his name, is a travel writer, and he goes to different countries and all of that and writes about these countries. Well, he decided he lives in a rectory in outside of London, and he decided to take us, the readers, on a trip through this house of his, which was built back in the 1800s. And because he said everything that's in your home, everything that's ever been invented or created pretty much in the world ends up in your home somewhere.
Okay.
From bricks to glass to, all the different rooms, how they started out and all that. And he said the rectory, he said most of the rectors, they were landowners. And the church gave them that position because they owned all the land and everything, and most of them never wrote a sermon. They weren't even trained in religion. They would send them, they'd get a book with stuff to read, and that they were the rector. The tithe came. The tithe was what happened when the people who farmed his land brought the money into him. And it's just a real interesting book about how things got created, and gardening and all this different stuff. But the most interesting thing to me is somebody said to him, "You've bought that church," and he said, "I could get up on the third floor, and from my house, I could see probably 20 other churches, steeples and stuff on the skyline." And he said, "They told me that all of these houses, these big houses, were sinking because the foundations weren't done right." And he said, "That's not the fact." He said, "On this piece of ground where the church was, where his rectory is," he said, there was at least 20,000 bodies buried.
And so it's holding the church up?
Well, no, the ground was coming up. Instead of the church, instead of the thing going down. And he said some of the graves had 10, 15, 20 people stacked on top of each other.
That's
So
interesting,
they just, and because that's what they did, they had to put the bodies on church property. That's before everything was in the city.
Right.
There were no suburbs, and finally somebody got the bright idea to go out of town and find a plot of land and have a cemetery out there, and that's when they first started doing that.
And eventually there's not going to be a plot of land out there, so that's my little speech for cremation.
John, and you probably read a lot, don't you?
I read a great deal, yeah. But this is a tough book to read. This is like a textbook.
Is it?
Yeah, and I mean, at the bottom of each page, there's footnotes like this deep. Now, it's one of those books that you read something and you go, I better go back and read that again.
Yeah.
And what's the name of that?
At Home.
At Home.
And it's an extremely interesting book.
I used to read extensively. I read a lot, and I haven't in the last few years because life just hits
Life
you too bad.
engulfs you often.
But a funny thing happened to me the other night. Pam, who is our accountant and
Your partner
and
our
our
partner.
partner, and she's really one of these technical gurus. She takes on anything
That's
like that.
nice.
She likes that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Well,
She's a very bright lady.
we got new phones about 6 months ago, and of course, you got to have all this stuff on it, which I never use. Well, one of the things I found out night before last that's on my phone is Audible books or something.
Oh, so you
Now,
can.
this is your cell phone.
My cell
Yeah.
phone.
Okay.
Yeah, you can.
And I'm sitting in the
dial up a
office.
book.
I'm sitting in my office the other night, and somehow or other, I turned it on, and some author starts reading me his book, and it's.
Was it interesting?
Well, that's the funny thing about it. At first, it made me so mad because I couldn't. How do I turn this thing off? You know.
He just kept talking.
And so I had something else I had to finish, so it laid there on my desk, and he read through about maybe the first chapter of this book. Turns out the book was about political things and government, but at that point, I'm pretty interested in it.
Yeah.
You know? But
It caught you.
yeah, exactly. But about an hour later, I finally figured out how to turn it off. Now I don't know how to turn it back on if I want to.
Yeah.
But I'm sure somebody will tell
feel-
me.
Pam
Pam will
can
know.
tell you. Pam
yeah,
can fill you
yeah,
in.
right.
If a book doesn't catch me in the first 2 or 3 pages,
Yeah.
it's hard for me to keep reading. I admire an author that can just grab you right at the beginning.
Yeah, and I can
Get you
imagine that would
into
be
it.
really be helpful if you were
Yeah.
driving somewhere or something like that.
Yeah.
Because
Oh,
John,
yeah.
John told me one time that he enjoyed, when he was driving on long trips, Fran reading him the newspaper.
Yeah, we would stop.
So-
Usually
Oh,
we'd
neat.
get outside of Tullahoma, down into Georgia or somewhere, and we'd find a little town like Tullahoma and stop and buy a newspaper.
Yeah.
And we'd stop along the way in little towns,
And she'd read to you while you
she'd-
drive.
yeah,
That's
and she'd
good.
find the neat, crazy stuff because every local newspaper has some kind of crazy
Oh,
stuff.
what did
in
we
it.
have in this week's newspaper? Some commission has gas. what
Oh
was
yeah,
that?
That was
Plan
bad.
Commission passes gas.
That was
Yeah.
it.
It's what the-
That was my
what the
favorite.
ti- the
That was my
top of it
favorite
was.
headline.
Do you think they meant to do that?
I don't know, but
No.
it's
just one of those things
I
that
wish
came
Leno
up.
were still up there.
I
We
know,
could
he'd
send
love
it
that.
to Leno.
Right,
He
right.
would have loved it.
So
That's
yeah,
the first
yeah,
thing that
yeah.
caught my eye that
And
day.
the article, by the way, folks, if you just so we don't have
Was
a
it
private
nice?
conversation
Nice
here.
article.
Yeah, it was, and it was about some of the residents of Oak Park subdivision objecting to a convenience mart and gas
Right.
station being built
Yeah.
close to their home. So it was an issue for.
Yeah.
It was a crazy issue, actually, and I don't want to get involved in because both you have to feel for the
You
people who
do,
didn't want that to happen.
yeah.
But on the other hand, the contractors were building on a parcel of land that had been zoned commercial since 1989.
wasn't really their fault.
It certainly wasn't their fault, and they had already spent a lot of money
How is that going to work?
getting to the point.
Yeah.
Well, the store will be there.
Yeah.
There's nothing
Yeah.
else
There's
could
nothing they
happen.
can do. That's
Right.
what I figured.
Right.
Nothing else could happen. But no, speaking about reading, I usually have at least 2 and sometimes 3 books going.
Oh, I do that.
I mean, I have a book
Yeah.
here that I read, and then I've got one at home, and then I've got a little side one that's, I usually have a serious one. I love John Grissom
I
and
do
those
too,
courtroom movies. I wanted to be a lawyer at one point, thought about it. And,
Me too.
And I love reading that type of the strategies and all that. And then I'll keep a serious book like this at home. And then I've usually got something it's funny.
Yeah.
Little short 1-pagers or something like that where you can read a page, 2 pages, and then put a mark in and go on about your business. So.
Yeah. I admire people that can write a book. That can stay with it long enough to get a whole 500 or 600 pages written. I'd
Oh,
probably
yeah.
get bored about halfway through and
Oh yeah.
go off on a
I
tangent
get
somewhere.
bored trying to write the news. So,
Well, and
so-
that's a tough deal because I'm that way in that I'm ravenous about something new. I like change, and I like something new, and I'll start something. I'll start the idea, and I'll really be into the idea, and I'll get 8, 10, 20 pages into it, and sort of develop in my mind what it's going to be, and then it turns into work.
Yeah.
The fun part of it's gone.
Yeah.
The creative ideas of it is the fun part.
Right,
And then
right. And
follow
I've
that
probably
through
got
is
4
hard,
different
yeah.
things right now that are that way.
I have that. I have this in my office. There's a country show going on and a gala going on and something else going on.
Yeah.
and it's hard sometimes to go one to the other. I spend a lot of time on stuff like that. I know it sounds
and my
trivial.
art, my art's the same way. I didn't draw for a while, and all of a sudden I found my pencil box
You're
and
very
started
good,
drawing.
by the way.
And for a couple months, that was interesting, and now I'm
Are you an artist?
ready
Do you
to do
draw?
something else.
No.
I don't either.
I did when I was younger.
I
I
could
used to
do
like
it.
to draw pictures of cars.
Did you really?
Yeah. And I found one a few years ago, but I drew this when I was a teenager, and it was a car we had, and I thought, I don't believe I could do that now. I'm sitting there as you're looking at it and sketching.
Yeah,
this
you're going,
car.
did I
that
really
might
do
be
that?
something
Yeah, I
you
kind of
tried,
thought, I
yeah.
can't believe I
Right.
did that.
Well, and
And,
you don't realize, probably you thinking back, it's hard to realize how much time you
It's,
spent doing that, but you had time.
Yeah.
Now we've got no time.
Right.
I went to
Exactly.
Patterson's art exhibit, the photography exhibit at the art center, and it was amazing to me how a photographer can capture
Oh yeah.
such an interesting thing, like the eyes of an individual, or just the way a tree is built, and it was great. I'm really proud of what they do there.
And a lot of that too, those guys like Tony, they develop their own film, and they still
Exactly.
shoot film,
And he
and
was
those
yeah.
nuances that you can do with film, you can't do on an iPhone.
Oh, yeah.
That's true.
Everybody's a photographer now because everybody has a good camera on their iPhone, but you can't create what he can create on
And
a
I
telephone.
love the black and white.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah,
something
I
about
think
that
that- I
that's
like that as
really
well.
appealing to me. So anyway, it was a great exhibit, and I was glad I went. It's one of those things you think, okay, I don't have time, but then you take time, and you're so glad you did it.
Right.
And by the way, take time to come to South Jackson Civic Center this Saturday night.
What's happening there?
Oh my gosh. A tribute to Elvis. What else? Ta-da.
And feed this girl. Jamie Harden's Elvis show's going to
Tickets
be there.
are almost gone. I mean, I think there's still some. So call in 455-5321 or
And
go online.
what's really cool about that is Jacob, my son Jacob, and his wife Cindy are in that show.
I know.
And have been in it. But they went to Graceland and met with the people, Elvis. I guess I'm just going to say the Elvis people. I don't know who's in control of all of that. And presented the show that they were going to do, and got it signed off on by the Elvis people. Got permission to do what they wanted to do, because they're sort of like Disney.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
you just can't go do anything, because if they don't like it, they
They
see a
want
lawyer.
what's the word? Approve it. They want to approve
Yeah.
it, or he's got the right to do it. I just wanted to say a word today about Max Weaver. His funeral's today.
Yes.
What a contribution he has made to the musical world here in this region. And I just wanted to say, let the music play on, Max.
Yeah. I can see him right now, and it wasn't that long ago that he was leading the high school band during one of the performances during a football game. It might have been homecoming or something. They brought him out there, and there Max was like Barney Fife. I mean, he's a slight, small, thin man, but he commanded so much respect.
Yeah.
Oh,
was
absolutely.
a wonderful
And even the
individual.
kids today, I think, had a great deal of respect. Kids that are in high school today.
yeah.
I think it was almost 2 years ago that I did an interview with Max at his home, and his daughter felt like Max was not going to make it much longer, and wanted to know would I do an interview. And then that was the day that the band marched through the neighborhoods.
I thought that was beautiful,
And stopped at his house. And I asked her prior to the interview, I said, is he pretty alert? Does he know what's going on? And turns out, of course he did.
Oh, yeah.
He did. I mean, he was sharp as a tack that day. And we did a really nice interview. As a matter of fact, it was long enough that we had got 2 or 3 pieces out of it.
Right.
And then the band showed up, and he went out, and he was tickled to death that they'd come to his home.
That was really a sweet thing for
and
them
he
to
actually
do.
directed the band that day as well. Just
Great
really,
guy.
really, yeah, he was.
Great guy, and his wife Jane. I had her. She was a chemistry teacher.
Yeah.
And they were just good people, good school people, good
Yeah.
educators,
Right.
wonderful people. And you wonderful people out there, don't you go away. We'll be right back after this commercial break.
Russell's got your truck, man. Russell's got your truck. Chevy, Ford, and Ram, man. Russell's got your truck. With the best selection anywhere, Russell's got your truck.
Where can you find all 4 all-American truck brands all at one place? Check us out on the web at russellbarnett.com. If you still can't decide, give us a call. We'll line them up for you. Either way, my question is, why buy your next truck anywhere else?
Russell's got your truck, man.
All I have to do to think about what I was physically before and what I am now, and I don't ever want to go back to that original situation.
The overall mission of the rehab team is always what is best for the patient and how we can facilitate maximum potential from every resident.
Well, the most important thing to me is that I'm allowed to do whatever I want to do, you know.
Everyday Miracles, Life Care Center of Tullahoma.
Get your news first, fast, and free with your news leader on 6 every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday nights at 6, 8, and 10 p.m. Local weather, sports, community calendar events, and a comprehensive look at the latest news stories and news makers as only a video news broadcast can do. Get it first, fast, and free with News Leader on Channel 6, your local information network.
Hello everyone, I'm John Rickman and this is
Pat Welch. And John, this is the 10th edition of Conversations with John and Pat. Absolute rousing success. And didn't you tell me this morning that somebody called you and wanted to know that they could perform agent services for us?
Yeah, they did. I think it was all in jest though, Pat.
Jest?
Jest, maybe. I've got a song for us today, Pat. I wrote this one time between Gatlinburg and Tullahoma, coming back, and I had it written by the time I got back. This is something my daddy used to say.
What you call a 4-hour song, man.
Yeah, it's called Oh Bessie. And my daddy used to say, let down your milk, oh cow. That's when we, were dairy farmers, and this is, I took that quote and sort of added to it. I woke up this morning at 2:15. I could hear the baby crying in the other room. I stumbled to the kitchen, but the kitchen was bare. So I walked outside into the cold night air. I lit up my lantern and I barely could see old Bessie sleeping underneath the sycamore tree. I put the bucket neath her and I sat on the stool. But when you're pleading with a cow, it makes you feel like a fool. Let down your milk, oh Bessie. This ain't no time to go dry. There's an empty bottle sitting on the kitchen table, and you ought to hear my baby cry. I pulled and I pulled, but it couldn't do no good. Oh, Bessie, she just stood there chewing on her cud. From the barnyard, I could hear the baby squeal, waking up the neighbors living down the hill. So I thought to myself, what have I got to lose? I'll make this cow an offer she just can't refuse. I told her she could visit Ferdinand the bull. Lawsy me, old Bessie, fill the bucket full. Let down your milk, old Bessie. This ain't no time to go dry. There's an empty bottle sitting on the kitchen table, and you ought to hear my baby cry. You ought to hear my baby cry. That's a classic, isn't it, Pat?
That is awesome.
That's really not a classic, but it's fun.
Hank Williams, he didn't have anything.
He was more serious. He sang about broken love relationships. And Marshall County people sing about farm life, rural life, about growing up in the country and this sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So,
well, I listened intently to that song, trying to find a segue into the story I wanted to tell today, and I couldn't find one, other than maybe Ben's Jordan would have been more of a city slicker compared to a country boy.
Ben's was a friend of mine. We played softball together. Ben's, Mr. Jordan had a softball team in Tullahoma when I first came to Tullahoma, and WJIG. And Ben's was our coach, you might say. We had a lot of fun together.
Ben's was really a great guy, and I got to know him probably a little bit after he was really famous for hijinks and roustaboutting around Tullahoma. He drove a team bus for the cross-country team, and when my boys were running cross-country, I used to visit with him, and he just was a great guy. He was a great umpire, called junior college and high school games, and just was a...
Ben's, you might say, was a free spirit.
He was a free spirit.
Yeah.
But he was a good spirit.
He was.
Yeah.
He was friendly to everyone. I don't know of anybody that didn't like Ben's.
And when he passed away, I think John told us earlier today that he passed away about 2 years ago probably, and he was a great sidekick for Scott Chastain, and he's really is missed. But there's plenty of Ben Jordan stories, some of which we couldn't tell, but I think my favorite, the ones you could tell, is he went to the high school when it was just about brand new on Jackson Street. I believe we went in there in '58, and Ben should have finished in '61 or '62, I think.
Let me interrupt you, Pat. That was the $1 Million School?
The $1 Million School.
My parent, we would go see my sister over in East Tennessee at college, and we would drive by there as little kids, and our parents would say, "There's that $1 Million School."
It's a state-of-the-art school and really, really well built. From a school board responsibilities, any kind of additions that the architect said that the first floor was designed to put a second floor on top of it. It's a really stout building. But anyway, back to Ben's. The principal at the time, when it first opened until Mr. McClure became principal in, I guess, the mid-'60s, was Tom Garrison. And Mr. Garrison was a really good educator. His wife was a great guidance counselor when I was in school in the '70s, early '70s. And Tom was really big. I mean, really big. And ran a tight ship, some of it from fear of the size, to be honest with you. But the seniors at that time normally would have some kind of prank, and it went for a while. It involved the flagpole, which is the entrance that Mr. Garrison would go in and real close to his parking spot. With his size, he didn't want to have to walk real far. And one year they stacked tires on how they got the tires on top of the telephone pole and slid them down, I don't know, but they said they were stacked really high. And so I don't know how they got them up there, and I also don't know how they ever got them off. But I think about Ben's senior year, he somehow procured, legally or illegally, I'm not sure which, but a pair of Mr. Garrison's undergarments, in fact, his boxers, and took the flag down and then put the boxers up the flagpole about 15 minutes before Mr. Garrison arrived to see his boxers flapping in the wind.
You don't mean it.
It was a great day for the students of the high school, but not a great day for Mr. Garrison, and he launched an inquisition that lasted about 48 hours, and Ben's was found guilty and served a grand sentence, I'm sure. But the sentence, I don't know if anybody remembers the sentence, but they certainly remember the boxers on the flagpole.
There were, I'm not sure of the exact number of kids or who was involved exactly, but there was a day when Mr. Garrison was going to paddle some young men in the office and mistakenly left the intercom on. And oh boys, y'all been misbehaving now. You know you got to pay a little price for it. And so he paddled them, but the sound went all over the building on the intercom. And I think things were really pleasant for Mr. Garrison the rest of the day because everybody had got the signal.
Gave the students a rendition of President Bush's shock and awe.
Right. Pat, we're about done.
Well, that was a great addition, John, and that was addition.
Good memory.
Right. Again, number 10. And that's not the end of the conversation, John and Pat, as long as Mr. Gray and staff will allow. See you later.
Attention Shoeistas, Bryn's Shoe Boutique in Tullahoma is closing forever. Every item in the store is reduced for immediate sale. Brenda is offering huge discounts on her entire inventory of fashion women's shoes, designer handbags, and jewelry, featuring famous brands like Yellow Box, Nine West, Bandolero, Impo, Coach, Michael Kors, Joseph Ribkoff, and others. The sale is underway now through March 3rd. Hurry in for huge savings at Bryn's Shoe Boutique, 115 Northwest Atlantic Street, Tullahoma. Open 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday and 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. Saturday.
The Animal Shelter has served Tullahoma dogs for nearly 30 years. Now, you can help us build a bigger and better no-kill shelter. Your tax-deductible gift is matched dollar for dollar. So come on, bark it forward and donate now to have your tax-deductible gift matched. Make your check payable to the COT Shelter Building Fund and go to tullahomatn.gov to see all the unique gifts available for your generosity. For more details, you can call City Hall at 455-2648.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, and we're pleased to have joining us on the set now Michelle Matthews, and Michelle is with the Coffee County
UT Extension.
UT Extension. And is it Coffee County UT Extension?
Yes, it's UT TSU Coffee County Extension.
Okay. All right. And tell us a little bit about what your organization does.
Well, in my organization, we have different areas that we specialize in. One, of course, is agriculture, and the other is family consumer sciences, and then the area that I'm responsible for is 4-H, and that's what most people think about whenever they think about the extension programs, I think.
4-H is something I remember growing up, and I'm sure it's been around forever, but it's still active in our school systems, I guess, now.
It is.
Not?
It's very active. And we go to schools in Coffee County. We go to schools at Manchester City as well as Tullahoma City. And we are in almost every school for 4th, 5th, and 6th grade. We see those students once a month, and we have monthly 4-H club meetings. And during our meetings, we will have a contest. We will make announcements so we can prepare the kids for the next club meeting, and we can let them know about other opportunities through the 4-H program. And then we also, in the months that we have a little time remaining, we'll do some type of an educational lesson with them.
Is 4-H still kind of oriented around farm life and that kind of thing, or is it changed?
Somewhat, but it's broadened a lot more through the years. We still have many agriculture projects through the 4-H program, but we've expanded that more. We have projects in the areas of citizenship, leadership. We have the more crafting, home economics type projects like line and design, food nutrition, dairy foods, that sort of thing. So we're not just about farming anymore. We have something for everyone.
I see. And it sounds like that some of the things you just mentioned there are going to be helpful to young children as they grow up in life.
Right. We teach what we call life skills, and we try to prepare them for adulthood is really ultimately what we want to do.
Has that kind of always been what your organization has done?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like it has.
Yeah. Okay. You mentioned earlier that you've done this for quite some time. How long have you been involved in this?
Yeah, just a few years, about 18. My first day on the job was September the 20th, 1999.
Yeah.
And my very first day on the job on that day was working in the funnel cake booth, which those of you that have been around long enough, you know we have at the Coffee County Fair once
Sure.
a year.
Yeah.
4-H partners with the Rotary Club of Manchester, and we make and sell funnel cakes. And that's our main fundraiser for the year. But that was my very first day on the job.
Okay. And did you go to UT?
No, I went to Tennessee Tech.
I see, Tennessee Tech, okay. Is doing what you do, is that something you always aspired to do, or is...
Not really.
Not
It just
really.
kinda-
How did you end up in this field?
Well, when I started college, I selected an area to study, and of course that changed about 3 or 4 times, but finally I decided my specialty was going to be human ecology with a concentration in food nutrition, because I was really interested in foods and nutrition. And so after I got that degree, it was kind of like, now what can I do with this degree? And one thing that I really thought I wanted to do was become a registered dietitian. That was going to take some more education, but I wanted to get married. I wasn't ready to, I was done with school, and so I thought, well, what else can I do? And one of the opportunities was working for Extension as a county agent, and so that's, I did a little research, and that seemed like something that I thought I would enjoy, and apparently I have, because 18 years later, I'm still here.
I can imagine it's something that you would find very interesting and enjoyable to do.
It's fun because every day is different, and I don't think that I could handle the monotony of factory work. And I like to interact with people, and that's something I get to do with this job. And, so.
What are the age groups of the people that you focus on?
4th grade through 12th grade. So we serve all students through that age range.
You mentioned the county fair, and I think you see the 4-H involved in fairs all across the country, I believe, do you not?
We do.
Yeah. Okay. You also said something I thought was interesting. Family and
Consumer Sciences.
Family and Consumer Sciences. I had not heard that term. Tell me a little bit about what that's about.
That's about, I think that is a phrase or wording that has changed throughout the years. You also probably heard me say human ecology. Human ecology, family consumer sciences is ultimately kind of falls under the same umbrella. So it's helping families, whether that's in parenting or helping them to choose foods wisely, make wise financial decisions. Those are some areas that we can help people with.
You actually use that skill in what you do now, is that right?
Some, I do.
Yeah. And I can sort of get the fact of the nutrition. I bet you cook, don't you?
I do.
Yeah. And do you put a lot, personally, when you're cooking, do you put a lot of thought into the nutritional value of what you're doing?
Quite a bit.
Do you?
Quite a bit. I tend to, try to limit salt and choose foods that are lower in fat, and I also try to, as I'm, making my menus and doing my grocery shopping, I try to be a wise consumer and do a lot of comparison shopping, which is another thing that we teach through Extension, is, wise use of your funds. So I feel like I do use my degree and what I teach others. I try to practice those myself.
I can imagine that a lot of young women and young men as well probably don't think a lot about that as they're growing up, and when they get faced with dealing with the reality of that sort of thing, of buying food or cooking food or whatever, that's probably some major helpful information to know. And
right.
Yeah, I had no idea that the 4-H was an organization that actually did that. Yeah. So that's got to be interesting as well. Yeah. Okay. So. I have to think that it's probably extremely rewarding for what you do, because you're helping some people really get started in life, that to do some wise things as they go through life, and I'm sure that information is quite helpful.
It is rewarding whenever we teach something and we see something that really clicks, or it's something that the kids can really apply, or we see them succeed. One thing that we do is we encourage kids to select a project that they can focus on. And so we work with them to set goals. Okay, what do you want to accomplish? What do you want to learn? And then they will compile a record of all of those things, and ultimately submit a record book, also known as a portfolio, which it gets judged. And, you know, once they get their scores back, if we see that they've, you know, placed, that's rewarding for the 4-H'er, but it's also rewarding for us as their agents to know that, you know, we help them along the way, and we like to think we were a huge part of their success too. So it is rewarding.
And your official title, you're a county agent?
Agent.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I'm 4-H agent.
Yeah, okay. And I see from time to time and run across things from the UT Extension in our business that's really quite helpful about a number of topics. I think I was doing a story about something not too long ago, and there was a video clip about no-till farming. I don't know if you know what that is or not, but I had no idea it was like that. And come to find out, and as a practical matter, I run into a lot of people who do that.
Right.
But I initially learned that from the University of Tennessee Extension.
We do a lot, and we take a lot of phone calls, and, you know, various, you know, people will call in with different concerns, and most of the times we can help them. But
tell me a little bit about some of the concerns people call you about.
You know, we have a lot of calls about as far as working with youth, people that will call and say, my child is homeschooled. We homeschool our children, but we would like to get them involved in 4-H. How can we do that? And we can help them with that. We do have a program for our homeschoolers. So, you know, that's an example of something that we get. Another thing we get very often is parents that divorce. If they have children, they have to go through co-parenting class, which is something that we do through our office. And so we take a lot of
co-parenting. Amazing.
We take a lot of phone calls for people that to be able to complete the divorce process. If they have children, they have to take the class, and so we, you know, we'll let them know when our next class is, you know, where it is, how much it costs. Those are a lot of calls we get, and of course a lot of farm calls too, and those get directed either to Steve Harris or Anna Duncan, who are two agents that work with agriculture.
And there is an amazing wealth of information out there, I would think, coming from the UT system about agriculture, or what kind of grass you want to grow in a particular environment or whatever. But so it's a great resource for people.
Yeah.
And you guys are doing some things I would have never imagined. You know. So, well, you know, have you got anything coming up that you'd like to tell our viewers about?
I would. I'd like for the viewers to be aware of the opportunity for students to go to 4-H camp this summer. The big camp that we promote is our junior 4-H camp, and that's for students that are in the 4th, 5th, and 6th grade. We have other camping opportunities available to youth of all ages, and I'm sure we'll share website information, and so folks that are interested can go online. But the Junior 4-H camp this year is June 4 through 8, and we camp at the Clyde M. York 4-H Center, which is in Crossville, Tennessee. And if anyone wants to sign up, they just need to visit our office, or they can go on our website and get all the forms and information they need there. We are even taking credit card payment now, and so you don't even have to visit our office to sign up for 4-H camp if you don't want to. You can just go on our website, and there's a link to the right side where you can sign up and pay for camp online.
How long is the camp?
It's 5 days. We leave on a Monday and we come back on Friday, and so we're gone for 4 nights. And I go with the kids, and so they have a familiar face with them through the week. And we also take volunteer leaders with us. We have to have 1 volunteer per 18 students, and so that's something that we're always looking for, is men and women that can go with us to camp. Of course, anyone that's interested, we'll do, you know, screenings and background checks just to make sure we're taking safe adults with us to camp. I'd like to mention that the camp fee this year is $300, and that's something that we've been promoting with the kids, and we always, when we tell them how much it costs, we just get these like sad faces, like, gosh, that costs a lot. It does cost a lot, but I try to break it down and let the kids know what all they're getting for that. For the week, that's their transportation to camp and back. That's all of their meals, and you know, food's not cheap. That's their housing, and we don't tent camp. We're in a building with air conditioning. Everybody has their own bed. Activities, and so if you break it down and you see what all you're getting, $300 is not that bad.
Right. And I bet they have a lot of fun doing it.
I have 3 kids of my own, and my oldest never wanted to go to camp, and I didn't make him. But my middle one and my youngest have went every year that they could and have loved it, and obviously wanted to go back.
Yeah.
So it's something that I have personally invested in by sending my own kids. And I think it's, you know, I mentioned the life skills earlier, and going to camp is a way to gain some life skills like independence, responsibility, making friends, citizenship. So it's a lot of fun, but the kids learn as well.
Yeah. Okay. All right. If anybody would like, there is a number there. They're ahead of us back
there's my number.
And so they can call you if they have questions about the camp or any other related matter to the things you do.
Yeah.
Well, Michelle, thank you so much for coming by
Thanks
today.
for having
Great information.
me.
Appreciate it very much.
You're welcome.
All right.
Thank you.
We'll be right back in just a moment with more Living Folks right after this.
Let me tell you about the toughest guy on earth. He does the work of 2 jobs, but only gets paid for one. He's tough enough to feed the man that gave him a lifetime of nourishment. He has the crazy strength to lift the man that raised him up without even flinching. That's right, no employee of the month bonus check here. This guy, this warrior, will always be by his father's side, even if his dad will hardly remember. Good luck finding a gym to train for that. If this guy isn't the toughest guy on the planet, then I don't know who is. Caregiving is tougher than tough. Find the care guides you need at aarp.org/caregiving.
Is this the year you want to get fit? If so, check out just some of the things Tullahoma Parks and Rec has to offer. Kickboxing, aerobics, silver sneakers workouts, swim lessons, boot camp, water aerobics, basketball, Zumba, yoga, pickleball, lap swimming, treadmill, karate. Get fit, Tullahoma, and have some fun with Tullahoma Parks and Rec.
When your family suffers the loss of a loved one, the caring and compassionate staff at Tullahoma Funeral Home and Coffee County Funeral Chapel are standing by to assist you in every way possible. We are proud to support local industry and offer only Batesville caskets. Many funeral homes don't own or operate a crematory. We utilize the only crematory in Coffee County. Your loved one never leaves Coffee County. We can accommodate any need and any budget. Consider our complete pre-need service to remove this burden from your family during their time of grief. Lock in today's low costs and protect from inflation. Tullahoma Funeral Home and Coffee County Funeral Chapel. Our family caring for your family.
Ladies and gentlemen, last Thursday night, What I Like Best About Tullahoma was held at South Jackson Civic Center, and this is a program that Mayor Curley started several years ago, where all of the kids in the elementary schools, Farah, Bel Air, and Robert E. Lee and East Lincoln School, and all the grades, write essays about what they like best about Tullahoma, and then we have an award show at South Jackson each year, and a pizza party, and it's all kinds of fun, and it's wonderful to hear what these young people have to say about why they like Tullahoma, and here's some video from that right now. These are the papers that the children wrote that have been chosen to be the winners of what I like best of about Tullahoma.
So this is really a great day to be in Tullahoma. The Alderman and I are pleased to welcome you to the 15th is our effort to encourage the elementary students of our public schools, tell them to slow down a minute and think about their hometown and what it means to them. We had some incredible entries, all of which demonstrate our young people's imagination and their ability to express their thoughts, either in prose or in graphic form. Through their eyes, we now have a better understanding of what they like and appreciate most in their hometown. Whether it be a school, a family, a favorite restaurant, or a business, a church, or family, these themes shine through, and this is no surprise. Tullahoma is a great community, made up of many fascinating people, places, and things. This year we had over 1,200 entries, thanks to the support of principals, staff, administration, and school. And you have sitting next to you, or close to you, one of the 48 winners of this contest. Please make sure you acknowledge a job well done to your student. To narrow from the over 1,200 entries to 48 winners is not an easy task. Thanks to our judges, the officers of the Mayor's Youth Council here in Tullahoma. You know, our young people are confronted with difficult decisions daily. It is important to recognize the achievements and accomplishments of our young people and use this as another positive influence in their lives. And this contest is but one example of the many good works of the young people of Tullahoma. I'm very proud of all these entries, and I'm proud of our young people. I challenge the young people to keep up the good work and continue to do good things in your community. And parents, please take time to talk with your young person about Tullahoma and their role of keeping Tullahoma clean and safe. These 1,200 entries have captured in a snapshot what they like most about their hometown and what it means to them. If you have not seen your child's entry, please take a moment to study it at the conclusion of the program. It represents the very best of their entire grade of their school. I believe you will be fascinated with the work of these young people, the detail and the planning that went into each one. I've looked at each one and I'm proud of every one of you is a winner. My message to each of these young people is this: continue to be a leader and lead by example. I challenge you to work with others in your class to make Tullahoma a world-class community. Let's keep Tullahoma clean. Let's only do safe things. Stay drug-free. Listen to your teachers and your parents. Study hard, get involved, and always do your best. Your school, your family, and your community is depending on you.
Fair kids, we all at the top of the stage. Once a frog, always a frog. I take it out in public, but especially with usually they yell at that. First person I'd like to recognize tonight is Avery Hodges. Next recognition is Riley Ferguson. Next one is Christian Harden. Laura Whitten. Jace McGee. Emma Pruitt. Gene Huddling. Harper McShay. Sater. Michael Moyer.
And this is the Fair of Frogs.
LRBs,
First, certificate Vinnie Van Scotten. Olivia Russ. Nolan Kilgore. Aubrey Jasper. Landon Sharp. Lindley Gifford. Johnny May. Isla Scott. Ivy Scott. Chase Dotson. Marissa Haas. Marissa Myers. Kyle Stanko. Brooklyn Cato.
The Bel Air Bees.
So do we have any already Leo Lions here?
First off, I'd like to invite up Hudson Newton. And next, Sarah Plain Lockmiller. Judah Bills. Next, Megan Ellis. And next, William Nichols. Lexi Brown. And next, Jake Fisher. Kelsey McKelvey. And next, Bryson McKelvey. Shelton.
And these are Leo lines from Robert E. Lee.
We have any East Lincoln Eagles here?
Here we go. Justin Roper. Shayla Anna Miller. Mason Call. Mahala Locke. Gunnar Merlo. Cumbria Solomon. Braylon Dow. Neve Williams. Devon Edens. Denisha McGear. Owen Alexander.
Good. So I hope you enjoyed the evening. We really enjoyed being a part of this and recognizing the achievements of the young people of Tullahoma.
Smoking tobacco accounts for 3 of every 10 fire deaths in the United States.
Tullahoma Fire Department needs you en route to a structure fire, 202 Main Street, heavy smoke showing. Neighbors advise child trapped inside.
Lighters, matches, and associated smoking paraphernalia are the leading cause of preschooler fire deaths. We as firefighters know that most structure fires can be prevented.
I've got one! Command, this is primary search. We have a victim. Need EMS to meet us at the front door.
Please help us to give you a fighting chance. This can be prevented. Contact the Tullahoma Fire Department for a free home safety inspection.
What's a Tennessee vacation? It starts off like any road trip, and then, boom, adventure and thrills everywhere you look, which happens to be some of the most beautiful scenery in the country. Music here, history there, and all kinds of green in between. Come relax and unwind, or bring the crowd for some stargazing, or stargazing. Whatever you do, come hungry and expect an awesome soundtrack. It's all right here in Tennessee. We're playing your song. For a free vacation guide, visit tnvacation.com.
Get your news first, fast, and free with your news leader on 6 every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday nights at 6, 8, and 10 p.m. Local weather, sports, community calendar events, and a comprehensive look at the latest news stories and news makers as only a video news broadcast can do. Get it first, fast, and free with News Leader on Channel 6, your local information network.
We have some film of the distinguished young women that took place Saturday night at Tullahoma High School. We're going to show it now.
Has given up his time to photograph each of our contestants. You will notice their pictures taken by Norris in our program book and on the wall outside the auditorium. For 4 years, Norris has sponsored a Photogenic Award. This year's Photogenic Award will be presented by Becca Lynn. And this year, the Photogenic winner is number 4, Corinne Cole.
So you've got an appreciation for Steve Harvey now?
Yes.
Yeah, I got it. Our first award winner is the Donna Brewer Spirit of Distinguished Young Woman Award, which includes a $250 cash scholarship. This is a special award because the contestants themselves voted on it. They chose the girl who best exemplifies the distinguished young woman spirit. Presenting the Spirit Award is one of our last year's Spirit winners, Ashley Songer. Hey, Ashley. The Spirit of Distinguished Young Woman is Caroline Witt.
This year, we will be awarding 2 preliminary awards and an overall award for each judged category. Last year, our program's overall Scholastics winner, Paige Bond, will present the awards to our Scholastic winners. Our preliminary Scholastic winners are Amy Christopher, and our other preliminary Scholastics winner is Lillian Charbonneau.
Our overall Scholastic winner this year is contestant number 13, Madison Doherty. Jessica McChesney was last year's overall interview winner. She will present our interview awards this evening. Our 2 preliminary award winners are Cameron Brazier and Maggie Parton. And our overall interview winner is contestant number 13, Madison Doherty. Jody George was last year's overall talent winner, and she will present our talent award this evening. Our preliminary talent winners are contestant number 12, Kennedy Street, and contestant number 13, Madison Doherty. And our overall talent winner is contestant number 4, Corinne Cole.
Jessica McChesney, our last year's overall fitness winner, will present our fitness awards. Our preliminary fitness winners are Corinne Cole and Kennedy. This is presented by Rihanna Merritz. Short little change. And our preliminary fitness winners are Corinne Cole and Kennedy Street. Our overall fitness winner is contestant number 8, Maggie Parton.
Jody George was last year's self-expression winner from our program. A Apparently, this agenda that we have is totally optional, so if anybody got any ideas out there, just shout them out. We'll go with anybody. Hey, how are you? Good to see you. Our preliminary self-expression awards go to contestant number 1, Cameron Brazier, and contestant number 13, Madison Doherty. Our overall self-expression winner is contestant number 8, Maggie Barton.
Presenting our Cumberland Valley second alternate will be Rihanna Merritt, last year's second alternate. Our second alternate will receive a $200 scholarship. We are proud to announce our second alternate is number 2, Amy Christopher.
Yeah, that's okay.
I can't count today, ladies and gentlemen.
Presenting our first alternate will be last year's first alternate winner, Leah McClure. Cumberland Valley's first alternate will be the recipient of the $500 scholarship. Our first alternate has an important role. If for any reason that one of our winners may not compete for the title, then our first alternate will go in her place. Our first alternate is contestant number 8, Maggie Barton.
Now for the moment we've all been waiting for, the award for Cumberland Valley's and Tullahoma's Distinguished Young Women. Presenting the award for Tullahoma's Distinguished Young Women will be Katie Brock-Bodak and Jessica McChesney, Tullahoma's Distinguished Young Women for 2018. Winner of the title of Tullahoma's Distinguished Young Woman, the $1,500 scholarship, and the opportunity to compete for Tennessee's Distinguished Young Woman is number 13, Madison Doherty.
And we are blessed to have sufficient sponsorship to have 2 that we send on to state. Helping with the presentation of our second award winner is Jody George, Cumberland Valley's Distinguished Young Woman of 2018, and Katie Brock-Bodak. Our Cumberland Valley Distinguished Young Woman for 2019, and the winner of a $1,500 scholarship is contestant number 12, Miss Kennedy Street. Parents, you have done an outstanding job in raising a great bunch of kids, and I congratulate you for your work.
My name is Jessica McChesney. I'm the Distinguished Young Woman of Tullahoma of 2018, and I'm standing next to the Distinguished Young Woman of Tullahoma of 2019. I'm so proud of you and everything that you've done in this program. What has been your favorite part of tonight, Madison?
I think my favorite part has to have seen all of these hardworking girls, all their hard work pay off. I loved getting to watch from the wings, all the girls put all the practice that they've done and be able to put it on stage tonight.
And what are your plans to prepare for state? I know that's a big deal, and you have a good possibility of winning. So how do you feel about that?
I think just more hard work, pressing in talent practice, interview practice, just making sure I'm just hitting up on all those skills.
Well, we know that you'll do great. And again, this is Madison Doherty, the Distinguished Young Woman of Tullahoma for 2019. We are so proud.
Thank you.
Coming at you again with the Distinguished Young Woman of Cumberland Valley of 2019, Kennedy Street. How are you feeling right now, and what are you most excited about?
I'm feeling a bit overwhelmed, but really excited. I'm really excited to move forward and just get to have the opportunity to work with so many more amazing girls and challenge myself and work forward for that.
Well, you did awesome tonight, and we are so excited for you to have this title and know you will represent us so well. What's been your favorite part about tonight?
I think my favorite part has just been working with all these girls and seeing how amazing they are, and mostly just being able to work so hard with what I'm doing and realize that I'm capable of anything that I can do.
Well, thank you so much. And again, this is the Distinguished Young Women of Cumberland Valley of 2019, Kennedy Street.
It's time for every family and business in Tullahoma to go green and recycle. Tullahoma Public Works makes it simple and easy to recycle. Just place your recyclable materials, paper, plastic, aluminum, and cardboard beside your garbage container on the same day your garbage is picked up. Your recycled materials don't have to be in a fancy container. Recycling is not only the right thing to do, it makes sense. Recycling pays. Paying to bury our garbage costs each of us. Please do your part. Let's go green, Tullahoma, and recycle.
Hi, I'm Cindy.
And I'm Jacob. I'm the Rooster.
And I'm the Red Mate. And we would like to welcome you to
Roosterwear.
Yes, Roosterwear is a cottage industry producing accessories for men, women, children, babies, and pets. All items are hand cut and sewn locally. Roosterwear specializes in bow ties, pocket squares, scarves, cufflinks, neckties, and aprons of all sizes for all ages. Baby products include onesies, diaper covers, bibs, and burp pads. All bow ties, tie it yourself or pre-tied, come with an adjustable neckband. All products can be made with a material of your choice, as special orders are available upon request. Don't be standing back looking at fashion. Create your own with Roosterwear.
Come visit us at
roosterandredmaiden.com
to find our handcrafted designs for
the cock of the walk.
I want to eat apples and bananas. I need to eat apples and bananas. Why can't I eat apples and bananas?
Support the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks to help provide meals to those in need. Join us at feedingamerica.org.
Get your news first, fast, and free with your news leader on 6 every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday nights at 6, 8, and 10 p.m. Local weather, sports, community calendar events, and a comprehensive look at the latest news stories and news makers as only a video news broadcast can do. Get it first, fast, and free with News Leader on Channel 6, your local information network.
Good morning, all you wonderful people in TV land and camera ladies. Thanks, John, for that introduction. And Madam Elf, we're delighted to see that you made it here this morning. You know, this is a wonderful season. Hot, cold, dry, wet, whatever it is, the Christmas season always fills you with good spirits, and it's wonderful to be here. And having seen a lot of seasons in the past, I'd like to share with you a current event and the same current event many years ago, and that's the snow season. You know, the ground was blanketed with snow this morning, and until it gets waist deep, I think we could probably get around these wonderful Tullahoma streets and byways. But you know, I'm reminded of some of the days gone by. I think I mentioned it in an earlier show, that in 1939 for Easter we had an early spring, and the grass was up and the violets were up and the jonquils and tulips were all up, and sure enough, all the ladies were ready to come out in their Easter finery. Guess what happened? Saturday night before Easter, it snowed. I'm telling you, about a foot of snow, and little buttercups and jonquils, little heads were just sticking up above the snow that day. And that was not a good weather year either, because in the fall and winter of 1939 was one of the hardest freezes in the century. And the Avoca and Lake and and Lake Tullahoma froze over. And I don't know whether it was Hubert Crouch or Robert Doss that bet somebody that they could drive their Model A across Avoca Lake, and I don't know what the bet was, but sure enough, they drove a Model A across Lake Avoca in the winter of 1939. In 1940, winter was not much better because that was the winter they constructed Camp Forrest here for the big Army base, and there was mud around the clock, and they had a good group of big international dump trucks that brought crushed rock from the quarry at Normandy and Lynchburg, and I forget where the other one was, but they brought gravel into the Camp Forrest area around the clock so they could have some kind of footing to get the trucks and material in there. But one of the worst things about that winter was the ice, terrible ice. The temperature was not too low, but the ice was terrible, and the wind. I know the trunk line of the telephone company that went down the alley between Washington and Atlantic Street that had probably 20 cross arms on it, maybe 100 wires that took the telephone communications between Chattanooga and Nashville, and they were sagging not to the ground, but they were loaded with ice. And of course, ice is the biggest enemy of the electric company. Wind is bad and rain is bad, but ice, they just can do more. As we all know, in the ice storm just before Christmas of '98, how the service was interrupted, and we did makeshift things to live together and stay together, and we made it fine. But Mother Nature has a way of working real hard. One of the fun things about ice and snow is if you can have some otherwise fairly decent weather, was to go sleigh riding and sledding. I know Camel's Hill, which is the second block of West Lincoln Street, before it was ever paved, was real steep and it was gravel, and that was called Camel's Hill. And it was fun to get on a great big piece of heavy cardboard or sled and run and jump on it about when you're in front of Domino's Pizza on West Lincoln Street, and you could slide all the way across the bridge, Rock Creek Bridge on West Lincoln Street. And it was fun. The police or public works people put a big 55-gallon oil drum in the intersection there of Lincoln and Jackson, and kept a fire going in it so folks could warm their hands, and it was a great time and a lot of fun. And the automobiles or vehicles couldn't come up that block of West Lincoln because it was so steep and slick. Another good sleigh riding hill was over behind the old Tullahoma Laundry there, and it was called Osborne's Hill, and you could go down on it in a sled. If you didn't turn quick enough, you'd wind up in Rock Creek, and a lot of our buddies did do that, but it was so much fun. And long about the middle of the early and middle 70s, had a good snow on a weekend, and a lot of folks went out to the Lake Hills area near Avoca, and it was good wide roads out there and real good and slick. The sun was out, and spent the whole afternoon, that Sunday afternoon, sleigh riding. And a couple of brothers here, the twins, Charlie and Clarence Weaver, that made a big wooden sled that probably 15 and 20 people could get on out of 2x4s and some old lumber, and they called it the dingbat. And they'd get somebody in a pickup truck or a car that would drive them all over town, had blankets, and it was so much fun. But if you're bundled up good for cold weather, why, it's really great. If you might as well not try to get out in a T-shirt because you'll freeze and take cold, you know. But if you're bundled up real good, well, it's a lot of fun and keep warm that way. But those days were real fun. One winter, many years ago, the weather was so severe and the snow was so heavy that people ran out of firewood, and the city fathers said you can go down to South Jackson school grounds and cut some of those old oak trees down there and get you some firewood. When the school was first built there, you could not see all the way across the campus for the big trees that were there. But that particular winter, they cut down many of those trees for firewood, and that was a 13-acre block there that was the original town square. And even years before that, I asked my grandfather one time what the earliest snow was and the latest snow, and he didn't remember when the earliest one was, but he said the latest one was the corn was already up and the gardens were green and the yards had plenty of grass and the leaves were all out and everything. And on May the 16th of 1886, they had about 18-inch to 2-foot snow that late in the year. And I thought, surely not in May, but sure enough, somebody called in the weather people at Channel 5 a year or two ago and asked the same question: when was the first one and when was the latest one on record? And sure enough, May the 16th, 1886, blanketed Tennessee from Memphis to Kingsport with a deep, deep snow, and it stayed, they said, for about a week. But those are some of the things that, and things of past that were related to snow. I understand that today the forecast is for, I think, a high of about 20 and possible snow flurries tonight and Saturday and Sunday and Christmas Day is supposed to be cold but dry, no snow. But I'm wondering how it would be in where was it, in the Midwest in the last couple of weeks. They've had such terrible, deep blowing blizzard type snows. I talked to one of my suppliers in Iowa yesterday about 3 o'clock, and the lady said, "We're getting ready to go home." I said, "How come?" She said, "We can't see across the street. The snow is blowing so hard, and the streets are slick, and we want to get home when we can." "How is it down there in Tennessee?" I said, "Well, the sun is out now, and we've had a few snow flurries, but it's pleasant, and if you bundle up real good, it's not too bad. I wish we were down there because we're up in all this heavy blowing snow, and but that's what you expect up there, you know, to have plenty of snow and that sort of thing. But we live in the sunny South, and I'm glad that we have the changing seasons, the 4 seasons. One last thing, I remember very well, February the 16th, 1946, when our ship had just come back from the South Pacific. We pulled into Boston Harbor, and it was 26 below zero, and the wind was blowing about 50 or 60 knots off the North Atlantic. And I'm telling you right now, I prayed if the Lord get me back to Tullahoma, Tennessee in one piece and get me thawed out, I would never, ever complain about hot weather again, and I haven't. But those were really bone-chilling days. And tell you what, this is not the end of the story, because there's a lot more to come, and be coming pretty soon, and we'll have some tales to tell, and we thank you so much for watching, and everybody have a good, dry, warm day.
At the time, maybe you were just building a bridge, a business, or a community. Maybe you were simply working for a home or a better tomorrow. At the time, you served out of duty and love of country. But in that time, we see a legacy created, an American dream lived. The rehab team at Life Care Center of Tullahoma is ready to help you live well.
There's no place like home.
Getting home safely is just a click away, and choosing the right seat for your little one's age and size will take you down the road to safer travels.
How can I ever thank you enough?
Visit safercar.gov/the-right-seat.
I'm meteorologist Leland Statham from the News Channel 5 Weather Center. Look to Jim Fuller and crew for local news night here on Channel 6.
All right, folks, we're back, and we're glad you've stayed with us today. We've had all kinds of interesting local things going on around here, and it will continue. Make sure Saturday night you get a ticket and go to see the Elvis show at South Jackson Civic Center. Jamie Harden and my son Jacob and Cindy and all those great cast they have, and Fuzz, Cliff Roberts,
right,
and all those great people who put on those shows are coming to Tullahoma and bringing the Elvis show. It's been sanctioned by Elvis Presley's people
Yeah.
and Graceland and all of that. So and enjoy the sunshine. It might be a little bit chilly for a day or two, but we're going to have sunshine.
Beautiful.
And it's beautiful outside. Go look at flowers and trees and drive around. Get out of your house and go ride. Spend a little gas money. It's fun.
It is
We'll see you
fun.
next time. Thank you.